My name is Belay. I'm the General Coordinator of the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. I think the main purpose of the campaign is to ensure the sovereignty of Africa for its food. We have, everything that we need to produce our own food, and our food is culturally appropriate, meaning we have a diversity in our food. I'm in Uganda now. I'm speaking from Kampala. In Uganda, and if you go to any part of Uganda, north, south, west, east, the diversity in food is astounding. But that diversity in food is diminishing as I speak because the coming generation is being wooed by food which is coming from outside. So the main purpose of this campaign is to mobilize African citizens to choose their food, because choosing their food is choosing their right, ensuring their sovereignty, and resisting also the corporate ownership of African food, African land, African seeds, African culinary abilities, and all that. So that is the main purpose of the campaign. I think people can participate in so many ways. I think the easiest thing that they can do is express their views. There will be a Twitter campaign. In this Twitter campaign, they can record 2-minute video of themselves preparing their food, eating their food, or also they can talk about a particular kind of seed, or they can interview their mothers, how mothers are preparing their food. They can have, there are so many stories in Africa. So they can ask even their grandmothers for a story related to food. There are songs related to food, so they can record themselves singing those songs about food, and they can put it. They can also write something and they can read it. They can write poems about food, and they can talk about these poems. There's so many ways to participate. They can do small theaters, like 2-minute, 3-minute theaters, and they can post that. There's so many ways, but the most important thing is this is very, very important. My Food is African campaign is about our sovereignty as an African. They have to realize that, and they have to cooperate with that. I think the primary message is that our food is diverse, and our food is healthy, our food is nutritious, and by growing and eating our food, we can protect our environment, we can live in a healthy environment, and we will have a healthy body. By eating our food, we will ensure that our culture revives, our culture does not disappear. By eating our food, we ensure that we have the right to food is ensured when we eat our own food. I think the policy recommendation that we have in AFSA, what that we recommend as AFSA is that one, governments have to produce a food policy. We need an African food policy. And food, by its nature, concerns almost every policy. Concerns environmental policy, climate policy, trade policy, because there is a trading in food, water policy, because water can be contaminated, and water is part of our food, any food, health policy. So there has to be coherence among these policies, so that one policy does not negate another policy. Even in the climate policy, sometimes governments talk about increasing productivity using chemicals, using dangerous chemicals sometimes, For example, farmers use glyphosate. Well, on one side you can increase productivity, but what is the impact of the glyphosate? Glyphosate causes cancer. So one policy should speak to another policy. We have to have a current food policy, and that policy should ensure agroecologically based agriculture. I think that's very much important. And when they implement policy, they have to allocate enough amount of money, governments, for agroecology, so that a kind of agriculture which ensures African food sovereignty, and my food is African campaign is ensured.